Welcome everyone to our latest Campaigns and Elections webinar. Thank you for joining us today. I know everyone is super swamped at this part of the year. Today we are going to be presenting innovative GOTV mobile phone solutions that will decide the 2024 elections, presented by Telephone Town Hall Meetings and Tele-Town Hall. Before we jump in and I introduce our speakers, just a couple of notes. If you've been with us before, this is old news, but down in the right-hand corner, you'll see a chat tab and a questions tab. Feel free to put comments, questions in the chat throughout. That'll be visible to everyone who is watching today. The questions are private, so if you have a question you just want to send to the speakers, feel free to use that channel as well. Throughout the presentation today, we will have a couple of polls, so look for those. They'll pop up over your screen, and we'll let you know when they're up there as well. And lastly, this is being recorded, so you will receive a replay of it later today. And with that, let's jump right in. Today with us, we have Kurt Cerveny from Telephone Town Hall Meeting and Sean Thompson from Tele-Town Hall. So I will let you guys take it over.
Thanks, Amy. So I just want to welcome everyone to our webinar today. We're going to be discussing innovative GOTV mobile phone solutions that we believe are going to be the deciding factors in the 2024 elections. We know everybody is very busy right now, so we're going to keep this presentation short and sweet and try to focus really on your questions and addressing them. But before we get started, I'm just going to give a brief introduction about myself and Kurt. I've been with Tele-Town Hall since for about 18 years now, working on campaigns and innovative solutions, everything from our flagship product to Tele-Town Hall events, to texting and the newest products that we're going to be talking about today. Kurt?
And my name is Kurt Cerveny. I'm president of Telephone Town Hall Meeting, also known as TTHM. I've been working in this gig for about 15 years. It's been very rewarding. We have some new products we want to talk about today, and that's pretty much what this webinar is all about. Take it away, Sean.
Okay, thanks, Kurt. And we're going to start by focusing on two of our newest solutions, and these really are geared towards GOTV. The first one is live voice broadcasting. And what LVB is essentially a compliant way of sending auto calls, and I put auto calls in quotes, to mobiles, because we are rapidly dialing hundreds or thousands of telephone numbers per second. But it's not an automated call in the sense of a robocall because number one, we're not using an auto dialer. We're not loading random or sequential telephone numbers. And the voice is not pre-recorded. It's actually a live person delivering the message to thousands per minute. And so by doing that, it's a really scalable way to deliver your live voice message compliantly. So you can call literally thousands of mobile phones, tens of thousands of them, and you have this live operator, could be the candidate, could be a surrogate of the campaign, repeating a short script on repeat. And it's typically 30 seconds, 45 seconds in message length. And it can just be a one-way straight message. I'm reminding you to turn in your mail ballots or go vote on person on such and such a date. Or there is also functionality whereby you can actually have people press a keystroke. So with the live voice broadcast, you can also capture responses. We could ask people if they already voted. We could do a quick transfer to, let's say, a surrogate of the campaign if you're trying to persuade them. You can actually drive them to events. So if you're doing a last-minute rally, you can ask them to RSVP. But why is live voice broadcast one of the GOTV tools of choice now? It's really because the volume of text messages, cold text messages especially, is growing week by week. And so a live phone call is actually something that stands out from the norm. People are getting one live phone call for every 50 political texts that they're getting. How easy is this to set up? You don't need to worry about delays with 10 DLC registration. We know we're trying to get our customers registered for 10 DLC as quickly as possible these days, but there are all sorts of delays by the campaign registry, by carriers, with phone number allocation. You don't have to worry about that. You simply need a script, a list of telephone numbers, and a phone number to use as your outgoing caller ID. And the other thing I mentioned in terms of the caller ID is you'll fill out a quick stir shaken form. and we'll sign the phone calls as we send them out so that you're not seeing, or so that people are not seeing on their mobile phones likely spam to maximize live pickups and delivery rates. Kurt, is there anything you want to add to live voice broadcast?
I do. So we've used these in a couple of situations. One of the, because it's not, people are just starting to vote, not so much for that yet, but it's been driving people to events. And so why have the IVR on there? If they press 6, for instance, they register for the IVR automatically with their phone number. Why do we have people do that? It's, we're going to let them come anyway, I suppose, at the event. But they feel more obligated if they press a button. Oh my gosh, I signed up for it. I now must go. And so it helps overall in attendance one way or the other. Please do these, though, not 24 hours before the event, 3 days before the event. It's a proper time to do something like this. If it's for an event, within the 24-hour window, people have plans made already. It's good to back it up at least 3 days in advance to use this particular tool. You can do that, and you can do it at the last minute for get out the vote because there is no other choice. But for instance, in some states, like I live in Colorado, if you're using it for get out the vote, certainly use it for get out the vote for it's time to, we're a mail ballot state, drop your ballots in the mail by today. This is a week before the election, because after that you ought to be dropping it off at certain locations. So you almost use it as a public service announcement. Again, it's not for trying to influence how people vote. It's just to have people to vote, or in my first example, to drive them to an event. It's not for persuasion. This is to push people somewhere, push them to an event, push them to vote. Back to you, Sean.
Thanks, Kurt. Yeah, and the last thing I want to add is there is a place for text messaging, of course, but this is a good thing to chase text messages that are sent out. And we very much are advocates of multi-channel communications. So again, you don't know what day other campaigns are sending out all of their text messages, but if yours is one in a dozen, it might be lost in the noise. So this is, again, a good way that you can stand out. Talking about our next product, it's live direct to voicemail. And this piggybacks on the same concept of live voice broadcast, because essentially we are dialing hundreds or thousands of telephone numbers per second. But where a live voice broadcast is going to both live answers and to answering machines, with live direct to voicemail, we're simply dropping the personal voice message directly to voters' voicemails on their mobile devices. So everybody's getting a voicemail message. Again, just like live voice broadcast with direct to voicemail, it is compliant because you're having a live person deliver the message, albeit at scale. So it's basically one person, again, the candidate or a surrogate of the campaign, repeating a short message. This tool truly is used for GOTV because we don't have that keystroke option where you could transfer, let's say, to an IVR to RSVP for an event. This is straight GOTV. And so it's really cost effective because you're essentially delivering a live voice message 1 to thousands. What are some of the other advantages of live direct to voicemail? Well, because your phone is not ringing multiple times like a robocall, it's been seen as less intrusive than robocalls and actually less intrusive than text messages. Also, you're going to get more voters receiving your complete message. With live voice broadcast, if somebody picks up the phone live, they'll listen to a portion of the message, they may hang up. But with everybody going to voicemail, more people are going to get the whole 30-second message. And they do have the ability to go back and replay the message for key details. So Kurt talked a little bit earlier about driving people to events. So, if you're sending people the location, the date, and the time for the event, this is a great tool to drive people to events because, again, people can go back and listen to those specifics. And just as live voice broadcasts are extremely easy to set up, again, you need a script, a telephone list, and a phone number to use as the caller ID. You don't need, again, 10DLC registration or any sort of lengthy registration process. Kurt, is there anything you want to add about live direct to voicemail?
Yes, on both situations, on both products communication products we just spoke about, or Sean just spoke about, it's really important to change your voicemail on the caller ID when we deploy these. So it's timing on when they send these out is very important because some people will just automatically call back. So you need to change your message on your voicemail just in case. we've done tons of these, and we see little things like those little nuances of making things work out perfectly are really important. So we time this and we say this is going to go out at 10 o'clock in your time zone. Make sure that your voicemail's been changed over to say, hey, if you're getting this call for this and you're calling back, and you drive them to the event or whatever you want them to get going to, and try not to pick up the phone live at the given time, because you will get a lot of people that'll say, hey, I missed this call, I got to call them back right away. They may not listen to the message, so make sure that you change your voicemail on the phone at the same at the phone number that you had listed at the same time. It's just a little trick one way or the other, and then you get the most results out of this particular product that you can. Back to you, Sean.
Thanks, Kurt. Yeah, that's an excellent strategy for best practices. The last thing that I want to add, I know we talked about scalability, but these are incredibly scalable. So we've had one agent deliver literally hundreds of thousands of live voice broadcasts or live direct to voicemails over the past week. It can be scalable up to millions of messages left, because we basically have an interface that the agent uses, and there's a pause and an unpause button. So one agent could be on for 15, 20 minutes. They could pause the event, and then another agent could resume the program. You also can run the programs over multiple days. So don't be discouraged if you have an extremely large universe that you're trying to send messages to. This product is very scalable and very cost effective at large volumes. So actually, I wanted to stop now, and Amy, if you could ask our first polling question. Are you interested in learning more about live direct to voicemail or live voice broadcasts? Please reply if you're interested in learning more, and we'd be happy to send you that information and give you a brief demo about the product. And also at this time and at any other time during the presentation, if you want to ask us a question, please do so. You don't have to wait until the end of the call. Kurt, do you have any questions we want to address at this point in time, or should we move on to the next product?
We can move on, and you just do that in the chat. Just chat us up, and we'll ask the question over the air as quickly as we possibly can. No, let's keep moving on, because everybody's working on elections right now. So let's let's go talk about Gabby.
Okay, so our next solution is called Gabby Graphic, and you can see, the tagline for this is giving your text messages a personal voice. So this is a really creative way to differentiate your peer-to-peer text messages from other candidates. And what you're trying to do here is Gabby Graphic is essentially a playable graphic. So it could be a picture of the candidate, it could be a logo, it could be custom artwork with a personally narrated audio message that's sent as a double MMS. So there's the playable graphic, and you can also include virtually unlimited text below that. You can see the image of this on the side. So it would be, essentially a very relatable, casual image of the candidate. And then there's a play button, which you reference in the text message itself. Click on this play button to hear a personal voice message from me to you. And whatever your call to action is can be duplicated in the audio of the Gabby graphic as well as the text below. So what does Gabby graphic do? It grabs voters' attentions. It also legitimizes the source, and it does add a personal touch. Now, of course, as you know, we, as well as many of the other vendors out there, can include a video spot. So you can have a 30-second, a 60-second HD video included in your text messages. But if you don't have time to put something together, or if you want something that's really more relatable and genuine, this is a great option. This does not have to be high production. You can simply send us a picture, just a relatable image of yourself, of the candidate, and a quick audio file. You don't have to take multiple takes. You can make, you can make mistakes in your message. It's all about being genuine and relating to the candidate. Kurt, is there anything that you want to add about Gabby Graphic?
Yeah, I think it's you can do video on this. I think it's just best to do audio. It really works good for third-party work. We've been getting work on these on a third-party sense, like PACs and stuff like that are using it for persuasion or get out the vote or whatever the case may be. And you've got a picture of something. It doesn't have to be a human. It could be, like we did one of a subject the other day, and it was concerning an abortion situation. And it wasn't weird or anything bad like that, but we had a picture, and then you click on the button like the graphic says on here, and the message is there, and then the rest of the story is underneath that about where this person stands or doesn't stand, or they should be standing on the particular issue. So you can use it for persuasion. This particular effort is saying, hey, we're trying to get you to come out to vote, but it can be used for both. And like I said, it's really, really good for third party, or in other words, PACs and all that kind of outreach, if you can use it that way. So it's also hard with the video, because then you have to have the person do the video and be the voice at the same time. I've used this before where we've pushed something out where somebody's pushing out for the candidate and say, this is so and so calling on behalf of Congressman so and so supporting so and so. And so it's easier for a third party situation. We also, by the way, use these for many other different markets that we're in besides politics, and it works out quite well. We're just starting to use it, for instance, for the Medicare market. Back to you, Sean.
Yeah, that's a great point. And Kurt, I'll also use the example of a Harris County commissioner here in my home state of Texas, who basically used this for a message he was sending out to disabled residents and to elderly residents here after one of the hurricanes here in Houston. And he sent a Gabby graphic with his own picture and information on how to register for the program. And then he sent that one in English. They were also able to reply one or with the word Espanol if they wanted the message in Spanish. So we actually had a second Gabby graphic that went out in Spanish. So he didn't have time to put together a high production, HD video for this, but he was able to, to make this recording on the spot, send us an image, and we got it out the same day, which is incredibly important for, time sensitive delivery.
And for the audio portion of this, if you were to send out one of these, you could easily send it out in English and Spanish, but I wouldn't do the text underneath it. I mean, the copy underneath the picture in Spanish as well. It'd probably be just good enough just to do it underneath the picture with the audio part itself in Spanish, and that would probably cover the base. So something like that, because it would be too long.
Or you could just have simply one line that says, press one for Spanish.
Right, it's easier to do it that way. Don't want to get too involved. People only have so much time. Any other questions? If anybody has any questions on this, don't hesitate to ask. I know you can keep asking. I know you've got more presentation to go in this. So back to you, Sean.
Yep. So I also did want to stop for another polling question, Amy. If we could move to polling question number 2, if you'd like more information about Gabby graphic for texting, please let us know now, and we'd be happy to set up a demo for you and answer any questions that you have. We've also got a question from Hannah. Are these products only usable in the US, or do they work in other countries too? It's a great question. The big difference here, Gabby graphic, of course, is something that we can deploy in other countries as long as they are MMS capable. So this is an MMS. In some countries, they can really only accept SMS by and large. So that would be the one limitation. If you wanted it to be universally received, of course, there would be issues in Canada or those types of countries. The other thing that I would say is with ringless voicemail and live voice broadcast, you may be talking about a country where we can send, let's say, a pre-recorded message to a cell phone without consent. Not every country has those same restrictions, but from a technical standpoint, it can be done. From a compliance standpoint, the question is it necessary? And with our next product, we're going to be talking about our flagship product, the Telephone Town Hall, and specifically 2 new features that we have that are incredibly useful for GOTV this campaign cycle. So first of all, why does a Tele-Town Hall stand out from other GOTV tools? First and foremost, it's incredibly scalable. So, we've conducted Tele-Town Halls as large as 1.2 million people in a single event before. And because we are sending thousands of these outbound invitation calls per second to people's phones, they don't need to remember to call into a conference or to click on a link at a specified start time. So we're generating on average 250 times as many participants as a Zoom, a WebEx, Facebook Live, an inbound conference. So it's really about that scalability. We've done a lot of hybrid events where we have a telephone component to it, and then we have a web component to it. And again, usually the telephone component of it has about 250 times as many participants. So, it's certainly important to make this accessible to as many voters as possible and to make it as easy for voters to participate. Also, if you talk about a Tele-Town hall, on average, you're getting about 10 minutes of your voters' time for them to sit and listen to your presentation and to engage in live Q&A. So human beings are wired, to have personal conversations with other human beings. But if you can't be there in person, if you can't, have a door knock, if you can't knock on everybody's door in person, the Teletown Hall is the next best thing, because you're going to have a back and forth dialogue. And that kind of leads us into the next point here, is that Teletown Halls are one of the only ways that you can actually convey complex or nuanced messages, because you can have other expert panelists on besides the candidate, and you can actually go back and forth. And so it's a much better forum for communicating complex messages than other short forms of communication like text, or auto calls, for example. Also, we've been talking about GOTV primarily, but town halls are one of the best forms for persuasion. And that is because we conducted a survey not too long ago. About 78% of the people that participated on the Teletown Hall said that they had a better opinion of the candidate after participating in just one event. And that's because they're reaching out to have a personal conversation with the voter. They're taking time out of their busy schedule to give them an hour of their time, and they're taking live Q&A. It's an authentic way to open up yourself to your constituency. I talked about authenticity. This is another key for Teletown Halls as GOTV. 80% of the people in that study emotionally remembered the Teletown Hall as a personal phone call from the candidate themselves. So that's really key. They remembered it as the candidates, taking time out of their busy schedule and making a personal phone call to the voter. Kurt, is there anything that you want to add before we get into some of the new features?
Yes. So as you're running out of opportunities for digital advertising and TV advertising, and you don't trust to do any mail right now because it might not get there because the mail isn't what it used to be, you should consider, maybe if you had another outreach to do, schedule a telephone town hall, because they can be set up quite quickly, probably a couple of days, do a demo with you to make sure you got all the timing down, get all your questions, get your run of show organized and all that kind of stuff. Very, very easy to set up. And like I said, as we're getting close to crunch time towards the election and stuff like that, this is one of the tools that you can schedule and get done right away, as compared to trying to get some bad spots for advertising on TV, or again, the direct mail situation, or any other means of communication. Back to you, Sean.
Thanks, Kurt. Yeah, and it's a great tool for issue campaigns and for micro-targeting, because even though it's very scalable, we've had a lot of issue campaigns that have gone, district by district through a state, because you can basically, change your messaging based on your audience. So if you're calling into a more rural area, your messaging might be different than if you're calling into an urban area, for example. So now to move to our new features, and this is one of the features that we're most excited about. It's called Mobile Waiting Room. So for the first time ever, campaigns can actually call mobile phones, send thousands of Teletown Hall invitation calls to mobiles at the same time that they're sending invitation calls to landlines, and it's compliant. You don't need opt-in consent. The reason for that is because we basically bifurcate the landlines, which still receive that pre-recorded message, but for the cell phones, they're temporarily placed in a mobile waiting room where there's a live operator repeating a short welcome message. So it's a live person. There's no pre-recorded voice being used for the mobile phones. And again, the system's not an auto dialer. And as we rapidly dial through the two lists, once the landlines or the mobiles receive the message and stay on the line, they're automatically transferred into one Teletown Hall conference where they can interact and engage with the candidate. So what this does is essentially doubles the size of your reach for your Teletown Hall events, and in many cases significantly more than doubles the reach. The other nice thing about this is we've found that mobile data tends to be better, tends to be more accurate. So we're getting higher connection rates by dialing mobiles. And because a mobile device is something that the voter keeps on the person, we're getting higher live answer rates by dialing out to mobile phones. Anything you want to add to this, Kurt?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, because we are dialing, to give you statistics on that, with the mobile phones, if you give us a list of 1,000 people, it should be many more than that. We're dialing at about an 80% clip, or 80% of them when you're adding in the mobile phone numbers, a much higher percentage of it. So if, for instance, if you had both phone numbers, in this case, of course, call mobile phones first and foremost and not call the landlines if you have both in the same record one way or the other. But we are getting much higher connection rates because we do have those cell phones and people are answering. The participation level is much higher than it used to be one way or the other. So this is pretty new. This is new for this election cycle, and it really works out quite well. We're getting a ton of these scheduled right now with campaigns at the last minute, especially for get out the vote and some other things we're going to talk about. Back to you, Sean.
Thanks, Kurt. And yeah, just to give you an idea, the average participation rate is typically about 20%, maybe as high as 30% of the total dials made. So if you're comparing that to, email open rates or, people that are listening to pre-recorded message, getting their digital ads, you're reaching a significantly larger portion of the population of your voters. And again, you're getting 10 minutes on average to converse with them and to explain nuanced issues. The second brand new feature that I wanted to talk about is the ability to send synchronized text messages during a Tele-Town hall. And today we're going to focus really on text to GOTV, but as Kurt will explain afterwards, there are other calls to action that are also very effective with this synchronized texting during a Tele-Town hall. So because a Tele-Town hall is an interactive conversation with the candidate, and it's an authentic way of really engaging and getting voters excited. You're priming thousands of voters at once to take whatever action you're driving to them. So the text messages are sent typically at the very end of the Tele-Town hall after they've had a chance to participate, but this is at the apex of their engagement and their excitement. This is when they're most likely to take action. So if we're talking about, GOTV, you're sending a text message at the very end when your supporters are most excited to go out and vote for you, when you've, used the Tele-Town hall as a persuasion mechanism to try to, increase support as much as you possibly can. It can be used to boost in-person voting, or you can tell somebody, fill in your mail-in ballot, put it on the kitchen table, mail it, tomorrow morning. So the goal of this is to try to get your voters to take immediate action. Kurt, do you want to add anything to this or talk about some of the other ways that synchronized texting can be used during Tele-Town halls?
Yeah, something that we tried during the summer that didn't work until really well financially until these last 2 months, 2 months before an election, is we did a lot, and it's a different group of people you're calling. You're calling donors up, potential donors up, dialing 20,000 of them, something like that. Call for 25 minutes. You're sending out a text plea during the call itself and asking them to donate money. You can also have them press a question, do you want us to call you back? And that works too. But we've been making a lot of money for people when they're using this to raise money. So the candidate gets on, shouldn't be on for more than 25 minutes. You don't need to talk about stuff more than 25 minutes when you're asking for money. And you go through the whole series, and if it costs them $3,000 in the first place, they've been raising like 3 times that amount of money to do something like that. It's been working out quite well one way or the other. I highly suggest you consider doing that, even in the last minute pinch. Why didn't it work before 2 months before that? Well, there's so much texting out there to ask for money. My goodness, I get it from all sides. I made the mistake of donating money to people. This kind of cuts through the clutter, to use that overused term. It really does, because they're getting the text during the call that they're on or just soon after. So it kind of works out. And obviously the fundraising for these type of donors are much better, where they're starting to actually finally pony up money in the stretch drive, which again means in this case from Labor Day until Election Day. So we've had a lot of luck with that. We've got a lot of scheduled of those kind of calls coming up, where again we do a telephone town hall with the candidate on. They're talking about why they're running and all that kind of stuff, but what they're going to do with the money and why they need the money. And boy, that seems to be just cooking right now, those kind of calls. Back to you, Sean.
Yeah, and I was just going to illustrate, the text message itself references participating in the Tele-Town Hall. Thank you for just, participating in this interactive discussion. So it's very clear, this is not a cold text message. This is directly linked to the conversation you just had with the candidate. The other thing that I want to mention in terms of applications, two other very popular calls to action. One of them is driving voters to events. Right now, if you're doing a rally in the last few weeks, you can send them a text with a link to click to RSVP for the event, sending them date, time, and location, everything like that. And of course, you can also send, just a really short survey. Did you already vote? If you're trying to get an idea for, how many voters, you've already reached out to, you want to purge them from your future GOTV efforts. So you could just send a quick survey that way. So lots of different applications, any sort of call to action you're looking to achieve, this is going to boost participation in that action. Kurt, that's all we have in terms of the presentation for today. I know we covered a lot of ground, and again, we really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to join us today.
Let's do this last, Sean, let's do this last survey question if they want anything on this. Forgot to ask, are you interested in learning more about telephone town halls and text to get out the vote? And so that's just coming up on your screen now, so don't forget to vote on that. Now back to you, Sean. Sorry, we didn't squeeze that in.
I appreciate that. Yeah, so basically what we're talking about today is all four of these different tools are, again, ways that you can convey personal voice messages. And again, this is what voters are craving. They want a personal communication from the candidate. And this stands out really from the noise of the large volumes of text and political ads that people are getting. So at the very least, if you're using these other channels, which we always advocate multi-channel communication, make sure that live direct to voicemail, make sure that live voice broadcast, Gabby Graphic, Tele-Town halls with text to GOTV are part of your GOTV strategies. It's going to supercharge your GOTV this cycle and make all the difference in the world.
Thank you, everybody, for your time and your very, very busy schedule, and good luck with all your races you're working on. And thank you. Take care now. Bye-bye.
Good luck. Thanks, everyone.